Number 7, 1970, Plymouth Hemi Cuda Convertible. The 1970 Hemi Cuda Convertible stands as the holy grail of Mopar muscle. Under the hood sat Chrysler's legendary 426 cubic inch Hemi V8, officially rated at 425 horsepower and 490 lb-ft of torque. Buyers could choose between a heavy-duty 4-speed manual or the bulletproof Torque-a-Flight automatic, both feeding power to the rear wheels. In real-world testing, the Hemi Cuda was capable of 0 to 60 mph in around 5.8 seconds and a quarter-mile time of 13.1 seconds. Remarkable for a street car on bias-ply tires. Its most extreme option was the shaker hood, feeding cold air directly into the beastly Hemi beneath. Visually, the Cuda Convertible had an aggressive stance. Muscular lines and bold colors like vitamin C orange and in violet. But its true appeal lies in its rarity. Only 14 Hemi convertibles were ever built in 1970, making it one of the rarest production muscle cars in history. It represented the end of the horsepower war, and today, one can fetch several $1 million at auction. The Hemi Cuda Convertible remains the crown jewel of Detroit's muscle legacy. Number 6, 1967 Dodge Coronet W23. Built purely for domination on the drag strip, the 1967 Dodge Coronet W023 was a wolf in plain sheet metal. Its heart was a 426 cubic inch Hemi V8, producing 425 horsepower and 490 lb-ft of torque, paired with a heavy-duty 4-speed manual or 3-speed automatic. Power was sent to the rear wheels through reinforced axles and a beefed-up suspension built to take punishment. Weighing in under 3,400 pounds thanks to lightweight fenders, hood, and doors, the W023 could blast through the quarter-mile in the low 11-second range. There were no frills here, no rear seats, no insulation, no sound deadening. This was a purpose-built weapon for NHRA superstock competition. Visually, it looked almost identical to a standard Coronet, but its bulging hood scoop and lightweight windows hinted at something special. Only 55 units were ever produced, all hand-assembled by Chrysler's race division. It was a factory drag car that blurred the line between road and race. The W023 proved that Dodge wasn't just building cars, they were building missiles. Number 5, 1964 Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt. The Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt was the car that put Ford squarely in the middle of the muscle car arms race. Under its fiberglass hood sat a 427 cubic inch high-riser V8, producing 425 horsepower and over 480 lb-ft of torque, paired with a 4-speed manual and 4.56 rear gears. Designed specifically for drag racing, it could tear down the quarter-mile in the mid-11-second range, unheard of for a factory car in 1964. Ford built it using a standard Fairlane body but replaced steel parts with fiberglass panels, lightweight doors, and plexiglass windows. A massive hood scoop dominated the front, feeding cold air to dual 4-barrel carburetors. Only 100 Thunderbolts were ever made, split between automatic and manual versions, all built for NHRA competition. They dominated the superstock class, humiliating rivals from GM and Chrysler. Today, surviving examples are some of the most valuable Fords ever made. The Thunderbolt was Ford's loud, unapologetic answer to the horsepower war, and it hit like lightning. Number 4, 1968 Plymouth Hemi Barracuda. The 1968 Hemi Barracuda was one of the most radical factory muscle cars ever built. Plymouth stuffed the monstrous 426 Hemi into their compact A-body Barracuda, creating an absolute rocket for the quarter-mile. Power output was officially 425 horsepower, but real figures were closer to 500. The car came with a 4-speed manual or Torque-Flight automatic, sending power through a limited slip differential to massive rear tires. To save weight, Plymouth fitted lightweight fiberglass fenders, hood and bumpers, along with thin Corning glass. The result? A car that weighed just over 3,000 pounds and could run the quarter-mile in the 10-second range. Only 50 units were produced, all built for superstock drag racing. With its clean lines, bulging hood scoop, and stripped-down interior, it was both beautiful and brutal. The Hemi Barracuda was the definition of insanity, raw, pure, and built for speed. Number 3. 1968. Dodge Hemi Dart. The Dodge Hemi Dart was the evil twin to the Hemi Barracuda. Lighter, meaner, and even more unhinged. Like the Cuda, it used the 426 cubic inch Hemi, V8 making a conservative 425 horsepower, but actual output exceeded 500. It was mated to either a 4-speed, manual, or torque flight, automatic, and came ready for the drag strip, straight from the factory. With lightweight panels, acid-dipped doors, and even thin Lexan windows. The Dart weighed barely 3,000 pounds. It could rocket from 0 to 60 mph in about 4.5 seconds and dominate the quarter mile in the low tens. Externally, it looked like a mild-mannered Dodge Dart, but the massive hood scoop and oversized rear tires told another story. Only 80 cars were ever built, each hand-assembled by Hurst Performance. The Hemi Dart wasn't built for comfort or convenience, just chaos and acceleration. This car didn't just race. It assaulted the drag strip. Number 2. 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona 426 Hemi. The 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona was born out of NASCAR rivalry and aerodynamic obsession. Under its pointed nose sat the almighty 426 cubic inch Hemi V8 with 425 horsepower and 490 lb-ft of torque, paired with either a 4-speed manual or torque flight automatic. Thanks to its massive rear wing and aerodynamic nose cone, the Daytona could hit 200 mph, becoming the first NASCAR car to break that barrier. Its quarter-mile time sat around 13.5 seconds, incredible for such a heavy, street-legal vehicle. Visually, the Daytona was unforgettable. Towering rear wing, flush rear window, and a nose that looked like a fighter jet. Only 503 examples were built for homologation, making it an instant collectible. It dominated the NASCAR circuit and forced rule changes that effectively banned aero cars from future competition. The Charger Daytona proved that when Dodge chased speed, nothing was off limits. Number 1. 1970. Plymouth Hemi Superbird. And at the top of the list, the 1970 Plymouth Hemi Superbird. Built to lure Richard Petty back to Plymouth and win on NASCAR's biggest stage, the Superbird was the wildest muscle car ever to hit the street. Under its massive hood sat the same 426 Hemi V8, good for 425 horsepower and 490 lb-ft of torque. With a 4-speed manual and 3.55 rear gears, the Superbird could hit 60 mph in 5.5 seconds and run the quarter mile in 13.5 seconds. Its most outrageous features were its towering rear wing and aerodynamic nose cone, functional designs that let it slice through the air at 200 mph on NASCAR tracks. Built on the Roadrunner platform, it stood out with bold graphics, high-impact colors, and a cartoon beep-beep horn. Only 135 Hemi-powered Superbirds were ever made, making them some of the rarest and most valuable Mopars today. It was banned from NASCAR for being too fast, a legacy few cars can claim. The Superbird wasn't just a car, it was a statement of dominance. These 7 machines were born from competition, rebellion, and sheer American engineering madness. Each one pushed the limits of what a street car could be, and together they defined the golden age of muscle. This is American Muscle Legends. Subscribe for more untamed horsepower from the past that still echoes today.